If I mute my microphone, let's try that again. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the recent most awesome episode of technically Trek. Wow, I'm getting all tongue tied all of a sudden. Yay, live TV. Um, my co-host over there is taking care of some. Oh, there.
Hello.
Hey, Katie.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, depending on which time zone you're coming in from. But yeah, welcome to Technically Trek, where I'm your humble host, Admiral Dave Prime, and over there is Captain Katie. And so we're still in a bit of a hiatus. So we got Prodigy coming up pretty soon. We got to try and figure out what we want to do with that later in this episode. But since there's nothing new to talk about, we're going to talk old Trek. And I thought well, in retrospect, we should have probably done Best of Both Worlds tonight, because tonight, on this day, 1990, was the premiere, the finale for the worst summer ever for some fans. But talk about Dark Frontier, another great two-part Borg-centric episode. So before we get into that, Katie, is there anything that you want to talk about? And because right now we don't have anybody joining us on camera, which you don't have to be on camera. You can have audio if you want, if you're a little camera shy. See, I was camera shy at first before doing this with Dangerous Thoughts, which today actually is the 1 year anniversary that Dangerous Thoughts first went video. So happy anniversary, DT fam.
Oh, I thought it was next week. Happy anniversary to DT. Oh my god, my brain is just
Yeah,
it doesn't break.
because this is the anniversary of me coming to Colorado Springs, and that was the first week we went on camera. So
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
it's been a crazy, crazy, crazy year. And I'm just going to double check to make sure
It
that.
really is. But no, I do just want to bring up something with anybody that's watching, especially people in the UK. I don't know about the US, but I noticed something a bit amiss between this double episode streaming on Paramount Plus UK and Netflix UK, because we get it on both. Now on Netflix UK, the double episode is just aired as one episode, so like one 90-minute episode. But on Paramount Plus here, it's two separate episodes. But also there are two scenes that have been cut on Paramount. They've been shortened, one by about 50 seconds. And as we get up to them, and like when we're discussing it, I'll point them out. But yeah, so depending on where you're watching it, especially in the UK, it depends on whether you get the full version of it or not. And I find that really stupid, to be quite honest. I don't know if you've noticed it on Paramount Plus, Dave, that either of these scenes have been cut short.
Well, the only times I've ever seen anything cut short is when like on Pluto TV, especially they don't post like when it's a 2 hour episode, they break it up into two parts. Like Emissary, there's like the scene when O'Brien goes to the bridge of the Enterprise to look for Picard to say his goodbye, then goes to the transporter room and Picard beams him off the ship. And when they break that up, Emissary, into two episodes, that scene is completely gone. But
well, this
Paramount
seems to
Plus,
be what's happened on Paramount Plus here, because you've told me that on Paramount Plus in the US, Dark Frontier is just one single episode, like a feature length. That's what we've got on Netflix here. But did you notice that these scenes are cut on Paramount Plus across your way?
let's say that again.
On your Paramount Plus, it's all one episode, Dark Frontier.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Which version do you have? Do you have the full version or the cut scenes one?
Yeah, the full like 92 minutes of the episode. I haven't seen anything that was missing.
Right, because I did send you the videos, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
there's
like the second part, which has them talking in the Delta Flyer before it goes into transwarp. That's all there. And sorry, Tyson's saying that I haven't posted the link anywhere. It's just like, yeah, I have.
it's on the collective in Discord, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the collective. I know, and I'm pretty sure I put it in Discord at some point.
Yeah. But no, I have taken a lot of notes for this. Um, Although they are from about a year ago. But I have gone through it and starred a few things. Also, I just wanted to make a note about like before we get started, so we can just like get this out of the way. The actors who play Seven's parents, the lady who plays Erin, she was also in season 2, episode 22 of Enterprise Congenita. She played the Vizian tactical officer Velo, and the actor Kirk Bailey, who played Magnus, Seven's dad, actually sadly passed away in February 2022 of lung cancer, and it was only 6 months after he was diagnosed as well. So it, unfortunately, that's a very good actor lost. So I just wanted to bring that up at the beginning. But yeah, I actually didn't know until I was doing some research today. But no, that's my opening thoughts for tonight. Do you have any, Dave?
Uh, not. I'm pulling out my notes. Excuse me. But honestly, it's like was kind of nitpicky with a lot of stuff that started out with the episode. Like
Nitpicking.
like when the crew beamed the torpedo into the ship. Why did they have to have a stand for the torpedo? Why did they just beam the casing all by itself? Yeah,
Yeah, I've got a few little nitpicky things like that.
there's
That
Tyson.
occurred throughout the episode. But yeah, we'll get to my nitpicky things because that they are a little bit further on in the episode. But Tyson, my love, hello, good morning.
Hello, hello. Well, I was scrambling all over the internet trying to find the link. Last week, the link was in Discord. So I actually downloaded, reset my password for Discord, got Discord on my computer, was all set to go, was in the Discord family chat waiting, never showed up. So I checked my email, it wasn't there. I went to X, I couldn't find it. And then finally, I found it in the collective, DT collective chat in X. Right as Dave told me, and I'm like, well, if I'd have known that's where I was supposed to look, that's where I would have gone first. So yeah, we so for other people who want to call in, where can the general public go to find this link to come onto the chat? We're
YouTube.com
not part of
slash
the club.
yeah, just YouTube on YouTube. It's Dave Prime 1701, and the Discord link is actually also in the link below on YouTube. So if you want to join in live on video and or just audio, and so you can do that if you're a little camera shy. Left Witch is watching on YouTube. What's up? But we are actually premiering on TikTok or not TikTok, a Twitch this week.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Premiering on Twitch.
Oh,
also under the name Dave Prime 1701. It's
I have some friends on
right
Twitch also, but I don't have Twitch.
down there.
I don't. Well, I might. I don't know. I have to look.
See,
No, I don't.
I've dabbled with Twitch before. I won't go into detail. Some of the people I followed on there. So,
A lot of gamers on Twitch. I've noticed that.
Gamers
Yeah,
and gays.
there's a few people that I
Gamers.
follow on social media that are on Twitch, but I've never been interested in it, to be quite honest.
So I'm going to give it a try for a couple weeks, see what happens with that. So I only have 3 streaming options. Got YouTube, got to have YouTube because otherwise nothing else would happen. I'm on Twitter/X, and I tried Facebook for the last first 2 shows, but I figured try Twitch and see if that might garner a few more viewers or not. But yeah, like I was saying, the opening minutes of Dark Frontier, it's just like, what's with the platter stand for the photon torpedo that they beamed in there?
Maybe it was
Any
just easier
ideas?
to transport the entire structure rather than separating it. That's the only thing I've been able to come up with. And maybe it somehow stabilized the torpedo because it's a warhead, so it needs stabilization. Maybe it served in some other purpose than just presentation. But I did like that scene in general as it opened, like first person point of view from the Borg's perspective, from the drone's perspective. I really did like that. It was a good effect. But yeah, we'll just say that the stand helps with stabilization for transport. And
now that you mention it, it's possible that they were working on it in the engineering. That's what to stand on. And Ballon's like, okay, let it go, and they just beamed everything with it.
Well, yeah, I mean that. Basically, there's like one of 2 options that I like to think of. One, they just transported everything because it was easier, or 2, somehow the stand it was on helped stabilize it for transport.
What are your thoughts, Tyson?
Well, again, I came into this conversation very late, so I apologize. I love Star Trek Dark Frontier 1 and 2. Or which one are we talking about?
We're talking about the opening gambit for part 1. When they were trying to steal the...
Yep.
Yeah, they beamed the torpedo in there to disable the Borg vessel to steal the transwarp coil, but instead they blew it all up.
Right. And is this the one, remind me, where 7 of 9, when she gets into her chamber, the Queen's able to talk to her?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she rejoins the collective and then comes back to Voyager at the end of the episode.
Okay, I got confused. I thought Dark Frontier was the one where there was this quasi pseudo paradise like place that they all come together when they're in the.
That's Unimatrix Zero.
Unimatrix Zero. See, I got the 2 confused. Okay. Well, they both have to do with 7 of 9. Connecting with other people, and I'm not good with names. So this is where they try to steal the conduit,
the transwarp coil,
the transwarp. So I have questions. Supposing they got the coil, doesn't transwarp still require conduits?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were able to sneak into those.
Okay, I'm woefully underprepared, so I'm going to listen to you talk. And as I've seen all the episodes, as I hear you discuss more about it, more of it will come back to my mind, and I'll remember better. But right now, I'm just getting 2 different episodes conflated.
It's all good.
I have a question. It's a grievance that's only just come up with me. I think it kind of registered when I watched the episode, even like the first ever time I saw it, but when they transport the torpedo, they were hoping to disable the scout ship, but it ended up destroying it because they transported it too close to the power matrix, and wouldn't Seven of Nine have known the layout of a scout ship and where to transport? You see, there's a lot of these moments within this episode that I find just very strange, because they transported it too close to the power matrix. That's why the scout ship was destroyed. However, Seven of Nine has knowledge of the book. She knows the the layout of these ships, and wouldn't she have known where the power matrix was?
You would think.
Again, as we go through my grievances, I mean, I love this episode. I really do. Like, it's one of my favorite Trek episodes ever. But I just find some things a little strange in this.
Well, it like not only that, just like after the ship was destroyed, and then we go back to the bridge, and Janeway's talking, and then there's the view screen in the background. There's no sign of any debris on the view screen. It's just like nothing. I know it's just like an editing thing, but still, just like it'd been nice to see some debris on the view screen.
Actually, yeah.
So I have a question. I'm reading the recap here just because I'm trying to refresh my memory, and it says here Captain Janeway decides a plan to heist, to invade the Borg vessel while its defenses are down and take its transwarp coil, which will shave about 20 years off of Voyager's journey. That's what it says here in the notes. However, the very last episode of Star Trek Voyager, where they go into that hub, remember? And they go from the Delta Quadrant straight to the Alpha Quadrant like that. So why is this coil and this transwarp going to only take 20 years off, but when they went to the hub, it was instant?
The hub is designed for instantaneous transportation. What it's built around and how it's being constructed, it's specifically designed for that, whereas transwarp travel is just quick travel. The hubs are basically like where the transwarp hubs are. That's kind of like a Borg starbase, if you will, and like a kind of distribution center. And it's from these transwarp hubs where they can travel almost instantaneously through the network, because I think, again, I'm not very scientific, but I think it's like a deeper level of subspace they're going through.
So it's a different transwarp scale, I guess, because if transwarp is just faster than warp speed, but this is nearly instantaneous, then it wouldn't be transwarp. It would be a different type of thing. I don't, because they're calling them both transwarp, and so to me,
because it's still going through transwarp corridors. And I mean, it looks like the hub is built like around a star or something to that, something similar. Because it looks like a white dwarf star that it's built around or something. But whatever it is built around, the power that it's drawing from that. Because if you've noticed in Endgame, when they see the transwarp hub, there's only, like, case scenario is like a white dwarf star that it's built around.
Right.
There's only one small patch of that star that's covered. I don't know if it is a star, but we're calling it that just for the sake of argument. There's only one small patch of this star that's covered. So there's only a small area they've been able to build on. But the power that the hub is drawing from that celestial body or whatever it is, orb, that's allowing for faster travel through these corridors. Because if you remember, there's a very specific construction of the corridors directly leading from the transwarp hub. They have technological structures that connect them, because Voyager takes them out with torpedoes to collapse the hub. So it's a different type of construction. It's the same kind of principle with the transwarp corridors, but these have been more artificially created by drawing energy from the orb that it's built on.
So is that a one-way system? Like, you can, at that hub, you can enter and you can go to different places, in the galaxy, supposedly. But can you come back the same way? Because there's no hub on the other side. Remember, Voyager didn't come out of a hub. It just kind of a tunnel opened and they came out of that tunnel. So if
it's like a root system.
Right, but if you were on Earth, on the Alpha side, you wanted to get back to the Delta, would you need a hub to go through? No,
it'd just take you longer. It's like transwarp travel. It can take you very quickly from, like Voyager, they shaved, I think at the end of this episode, it's like 15 years off their journey. It can take you far very quickly, but with the hub, because of the power that's being drawn from we'll call it a star, and it's been more artificially created as well. It's like a root system. It goes from the tree outward. So and in that sense, it is a one-way system, but they can get back to the hub just by regular transwarp.
So they would need to find another hub somewhere in the Alpha Quadrant if they wanted to get back to the Delta Quadrant as quickly as they got.
Well, yeah, but there isn't one, as far as I'm aware, there isn't one in the Alpha Quadrant. Or if there is,
didn't she say there were like 6 throughout the...
Seven.
Seven throughout the galaxy, but I don't know the locations of them. But I'm sure that all the hubs do connect. But if you wanted to get to a hub, once you've exited a transwarp corridor that you've entered from the hub, you would then have to travel at regular transwarp to rather get to the closest hub to travel faster, or go elsewhere.
Well, if there's 7,
in that sense, the hubs are a one-way system.
No, there are 6.
There are 6 hubs, and if there's 4 quadrants, I would assume, if they're wise. Now they're mostly based in the Delta Quadrant, so they might have a couple extra in the Delta, but I would think they would have at least one in each quadrant. I don't know. What do I know?
Yeah, I don't know their locations. I don't. But one thing I do know is that I think all the hubs are connected, but the hubs are artificially created. That the transport corridors that are artificially created because they've got like shielding and stuff, whereas regular transport corridors, they are just a subspace corridor.
Well, this is another meaning for technically Trek. Now we're talking about the technically. Technically, how does this work? I love it.
I think I understand technology better than I do our own.
I love it.
So yeah, back to the episode. Let's take another little tidbit that I've seen that was mentioned, that Janeway does it all the time, yet she's only done it in that episode the once, and I've never seen her do it again. She fiddles with her comm badge whenever she's about to make a big decision. I just like it. I remember first time seeing it's like, what? Okay.
Yeah, I question that. But it's don't mind me. But yeah, I've questioned that since the off, because you never see her do it again. You never really see her do anything. You know, she hasn't got any tells apart from the look on her face that says, I'm gonna drop a bombshell, say nothing. But yeah, I've flagged that. Although I do love the first thing that she says when she walks into the cargo bay. Now, this is how I like the Borg, in pieces. I do like that. And now I don't know if this is a thing or not, because it might have come up in TOS, but you know, we don't speak about that. But it was the 22nd century when money went out of the equation.
Money went the way of the dinosaur.
Yes.
So that would have been in the era of Enterprise?
Or Enterprise or post-Enterprise, yeah.
So right around that time, imagine being in that transition where, you know, like yesterday you had money and tomorrow you won't. Like that's got to be an adjustment.
No, I can't wait for that day. I really can't. They say that money is the root of all evil. It bloody is.
I know they say that money can't buy happiness. I would like to challenge that. I'd like to challenge that, because it would buy me a whole heap and lot of happiness. Won't buy me love, won't buy me companionship, won't buy me, not in a, maybe physically, but not in a, you know, spiritual or emotional way. But my God, you know, every time I try to do a root cause analysis on, you know, my ills in this world, right? The bills I have to pay, you know, what am I going to do if, you know, I can't live here anymore? Like, can I afford an apartment? What happens about my job? All these things all come back to money, right? You know, if I had $500 million in the bank, $500 million, like, I don't have to worry about work. I don't have to worry about rent. I don't have to worry about it's like all of these things that I worry about go away.
Like Katie's got a thought.
Sorry, anti-homicide juice was needed. Right, fair enough. You worry about money. You ruminate on what ifs. However, if you had the money there, if you had endless amounts of money, or you had X amount of money to be able to pay this, you wouldn't be stressed. You'd be happy because you wouldn't have to worry. However, if money never existed in the first place, and you didn't have to worry about affording things,
I wonder. Okay, let's talk about the economics. What incentive in a no money society does a person have to work if they don't want to?
Survival.
But I mean, if there's no money, aren't you just given a house, given a replicator, given a, you know, like what?
Well, no, because you still have to work at it. You know, you would have to maintain your home. You would have to give back to society in some way, shape, or form, whether it be in the form of a story, in the form of a sweater, or, you know, it's something that people need. You know, it's all about contributing to society. It's all about providing what's needed.
I agree with you, but isn't that what money is?
Sure that everybody's got what's needed.
But that's kind of what money is. Money, like, I earn money by doing a service, and then I can use that money to buy the service that I need. Money is what keeps track of what we do, how we contribute, and, you know, it facilitates that. If without money, how do you know if I've done anything to contribute? Like, how would you know?
It's the barter system. The barter system. You know, if you need a plow to plow your field, and somebody has one that they're not using, but you have, I don't know. I mean, what? And you have a pasta maker that you don't use, but they desperately need for their business as a restaurant owner. Just do a swap.
I'm familiar with barter, and I've done. By the way, I probably shouldn't say this, but when I worked at Popeyes as a manager, I could, I got free chicken if I wanted it, and sometimes we would call Domino's Pizza, and I would talk to their manager, and they'd make us some pizzas, I'd send them some chicken, and we'd kind of barter. we did. We're not supposed to do that, but I have done that a few times.
Agri society, that Cassie would be proud.
Yeah, we've done some bartering. I don't think the owners of the two stores would approve of that, but we did it. I completely understand that. But they also make reference to in Star Trek 6 when Scotty says, "Oh, suits me. I just bought a boat." You bought a boat? And then in Star Trek Generations, when he's telling Picard, he goes, "That's okay. This is my house." Well, it used to be my house. I sold it 6 years ago. You sold it? So, they're buying and selling. They're just not doing it with money. But there's...
Well, yeah, I think it is more of like the barter system, to be quite honest. It is more of the barter system, but they're still using the terms of buy and sell. Because, when you've been saying something for so long and that thing is no longer needed to be said, it's very hard to get out of the habit. So in that way, it does make sense.
No, I agree. I'm trying to wrap my head around how all that works. We're getting way off track though. Dark Frontier. So they're you know what? I got to go back and watch some more Voyager. It's one of my favorite of all the series. Really quick, what is next week's show going to be? Because I want to come prepared, having freshly watched whatever next week's is.
I think we're going to kind of discuss that later on here. We haven't had anything like completely nailed down just yet. Don't know if we want to keep the Borg theme going or go a different direction.
Yeah.
Do a show that Reading Warp Core hasn't done yet, sort of thing.
If only we knew a Borg.
Well, we haven't done it. We never did Endgame.
I think we were starting Endgame. We never finished Endgame with Reading Warp Core.
No, it was booked in. It was booked in, but it never happened because life got in the way. So because we did all of them apart from Endgame. So we'll possibly do Endgame next week.
I love Endgame. I'll take parts 1 and 2, and that one. I mean, I'll go back and watch it just because I love it, but I don't have to. I know Endgame. I know how that works. So
I know this. I practically know the script, and yet I've got like 1,000 notes.
I love Endgame.
Okay, so we'll do Endgame.
Back to the show. Now, this says that there is Dark Frontier Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah.
So yeah, say when it first feature-length episode, 90 minutes, but then in syndication it got broken up into 2 episodes. But depending on what streaming service you're using, case in points, it's like some does the 2 episodes, one does the full episode. But whenever they break the full episode into 2 pieces, they always have to cut stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I was saying earlier before you came in, Tyson, on our Paramount Plus across here in the UK, it's 2 separate episodes and 2 scenes have been cut short. Whereas on our Netflix, it's both episodes are in one, so it's a feature length and none of the scenes are cut.
Wow. I'm gonna have to go back and look because I do all the Star Trek episodes from TOS all the way to Discovery are all streaming on Paramount.
Yes.
But the movies here, I think, are all streaming on Max.
No, we have all of them on our Paramount Plus.
Here we go. None of the movies are on Paramount Plus, not one.
Oh, we've got all of them. Apart from Star Trek Beyond, I think.
Ours are all on Max, which is an HBO streaming service here. I know.
Oh, I've just seen something in my notes. Sorry, but do you know when the scene cuts to the USS Raven and young Annika's playing with that model of the Borg cube?
Mm-hmm.
First of all, this was supposedly 10 years before the Borg were even seen.
By the Enterprise, yeah.
Second, that Borg cube looks very reminiscent to the model that was used for the Borg cube in is it Q Who?
Or Best of Both Worlds, yeah.
Yeah, and Best of Both Worlds. It looks very similar to the Callie, welcome, my darling.
Well, she's been in my lap, and now she decided to get up and scratch me because you're bad. Mwah.
Yeah, because I mean, cause when it comes to the Borg, what the Hansons were investigating, I guess we believe wobbly timey wimey stuff going on, but say when
Yeah.
Enterprise encountered the remnants of the Borg that were crashed up in the Arctic from First Contact, which of course didn't happen. Actually, no. Yeah, no, First Contact had happened by the time that episode aired. But we didn't
Well, yeah, because
know
First
that there were,
Contact was out in '96.
yeah, but we didn't know that there were Borg survivors from that invasion until Enterprise in it was 0203 when that
Now,
episode
were
aired.
they survivors, or was there necropsis? Was it dead flesh that was revived?
No.
No, there
Yeah.
was a intact Borg soldier, Borg drone that woke up and then assimilated those scientists, and then they were like half Borgified and started exhibiting symptoms of finding the collective, and then they shot off the message towards the Delta Quadrant. It's like, oh, it'll take a generation or two for them to get it.
Yeah, 'cause didn't they say it'd probably take about like 200 years or something?
Now, would you think that was the impetus later, decades later, for the Hansons to go looking for the Borg? Did they have some information about what had occurred on Earth?
Yeah,
Well,
that
and
could
then of
be.
course, like Cochrane was spouting off all this nonsense about cybernetic beings and stuff. So there's that as well.
There is, but where did the model of the Borg cube come from? Because we never saw, even in Enterprise, we never saw Q because it was a sphere that got blown up above Earth.
Yeah, see, when I watched it yesterday, I was thinking, say how did they know they were cubes?
Exactly. Yeah, this is what I mean. Unless they got information because that they somehow found out about the Borg from Starfleet, even though it was classified. If case scenario, that's how they found out about the Borg. Is it the Illyrians? No. Oh my God, what are they called? Guinan's people.
Hilarians?
Hilarian.
Thank you. I don't know where I was even going with that, but unless there was any form of communication with them, and they're the ones that said, "Look, it was a cube," and there was any form of like data on it, any schematics or any reports from the attack. That's the only thing that I can think that could possibly explain it away, but it's still not very plausible, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. Come on the show and shout at me if you want, people. But
I agree.
That's just my opinion. Yeah,
So
and
I just got a lot of nitpicking notes watching the episode again.
oh, nitpick away, my darling.
Well, just like after they had the meeting in the conference room talking about Fort Knox, they were planning the heist to abscond the transwarp coil. And it's just like it's going set a course, Mr. Paris. It's going to take us 3 days at high warp to catch up, and then the next exterior shot of Voyager just putting away an impulse.
I didn't notice that, in all honesty, and I usually notice things like that.
The next exterior shot afterwards, I mean, she was at warp, but yeah, that first shot, exterior shot, the Voyager was just putting away an impulse. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, then I had my chicken scratchings about how did the Hansons know that the Borg were in cubes until they actually encountered the first one.
Yeah. One thing that I've been nitpicking at is, do you know when they're doing the rehearsal on the holodeck?
The simulation, yeah.
Yeah. Now, fair enough. It's always good to rehearse, But why didn't they think to? Why didn't they think to use pattern enhancers to get the away teams out?
Oh, that's a good idea. Well, did they think
Because they use pattern enhancers to get the transwarp coil out of there. Why not use them to get the crew out?
But would it have taken longer to set up and calibrate than it would to try to get back to the transport spot?
No, not necessarily, because they were doing all those rehearsals. They could have got that time down if they were to if they were to have, like, when they did the rehearsal, if they rehearsed enough, they would have been able to have done it. However, when they actually did the heist, they did it so freaking wrong, it pissed me the hell off, in all honesty, because they knew exactly which way to go, yet they still freaking dithered at every single turn. When Harry and Tuvok got to the primary shield matrix, Harry dithered about waiting for his orders when efficiency would dictate, because they already know what to do, before Tuvok even gave that order, that case should have been open that contained the charges. And he should have had them in his hand, ready to just be like, bloop, bloop, bloop.
And there's no bloop, bloop, bloop. That's the other thing I noticed, is the fact that he only had one transport enhancer, when in the past they've always had 3 to make a triangle to center whatever you're trying to beam up. They only had the one. They didn't have the other 2 down in the corners to triangulate to lock
maybe it was just
the foil.
Maybe that's why they couldn't transport the crew out. Maybe that pattern enhancer was just to boost the signal a little bit to get it through.
I'll be back in 5 minutes. The dog is scratching at the door, and if I don't let her out,
She's going to pee and poo all over the place. Gotcha.
Yes. I'll be right back.
All right.
But no, maybe it was just to boost the signal. But if they'd have taken more transport enhancers with pattern enhancers with them, then they could have got the crew out and got out of there. But yeah, they could have quickened their pace when it came to the real thing. But they still dithered at every twist and turn. Harry dithered, and then when he had his tricorder open, he had his finger on the trigger to blow those charges. They'd rehearsed it. He knew what button to press, and yet he still stopped dead to press the button. That'd have added a few seconds on, So that entire heist really did piss me off, because me, myself, and I, if I was planning a heist, not that I ever would, well, and I wouldn't tell people about it anyway. But if I was to plan a heist, yeah, fair enough, rehearse. But I'd just be like, look, when it comes to the real thing, we all know what to do. Don't wait around for me to give you that order to place those charges. Already have them out ready. You don't have to stop at every turning to make sure you're going the right way. You know the way. So just go. And I know that there's procedure to follow, but there's also efficiency to be had. So yeah, there's that. That really pissed me off. But the main thing in this episode, I mean, like I said, I adore this episode. It's one of my favorite episodes, but certain members of the DT family have made me very nitpicky, mainly Dave and Hugo. But I love them both so much. I love you both, my boys. But the Hansen's technology, the biodampeners, the multi-adaptive shielding, the narrowband the narrowband transporters, Seven should have known that they would be useless, or at least become useless, once the Borg realised, because they have that knowledge, because they assimilated that knowledge, and the Queen tells her as much. So I don't understand why she would give them that advice without trying to tweak the technology to maybe update it, and so that even though the Borg have assimilated that technology, it is still slightly different to throw them off guard, whereas by the sounds of it was done exactly the same. So yeah, that really does piss me off. And I hate that I am finding so many things wrong with this episode, because I adore it.
Well, hindsight's 2020, as they say. But yeah, like I said, I'm finding a lot of stuff like those opening minutes of the episode. It's like,
Yeah. I do love the scene in the cargo bay when Her Majesty contacts Seven.
Oh, yeah.
I love Susanna Thompson's voice, especially with that echo on it. Whether it be Susanna or Alice as the Borg Queen, I love both of their voices, and especially when it comes through in communication like that, with that slight echo on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful and very imposing.
But just to rewind that scene just a couple of minutes, Naomi. I mean, we learned to find out it wasn't really Naomi. It was the Queen screwing with Seven's brain. Just like, do Borgs have kids? Does it hurt to be a drone? Does it hurt to be assimilated? And of course, I mean, that just really starting to actually freak Seven out a little bit, just like in terminate this line of questioning.
Well, yeah.
Although
I did like the I really did like the I call them spider implants, those ones. Yeah, I really do like those implants. But that is the way that was done, it was almost identical to the beginning of Star Trek First Contact, when Picard is dreaming and he looks in the
Yep.
mirror and he's got this implant that comes out of his face. It's the same type of spider implant. And I do like that, because that's like, it's almost like a little Easter egg. Almost. The way that it happens, because it's like reminiscent of that scene. So yeah, I do like that.
Pardon me.
But yeah, I have a question for you, Dave. I'll be asking Tyson when he comes back. Who's your favourite Borg Queen?
I would definitely have to like just lean just a little bit towards Alice. I mean, Susanna, I mean, she did a phenomenal job, because I mean they tried to get Alice, I believe, for this episode, but she wasn't available, so they were able to get Susanna Thompson. Which, I mean, it took me a while to realize the Susanna Thompson, she played Oliver Queen's mother in Arrow.
Yeah, and she also
CW.
played Gibbs's girlfriend in NCIS.
That she did,
She
yep.
was
Well, one of the girlfriends.
commander. And
Sorry,
she's
I had
good.
to let the dog out. I had to feed the plants and water the fish. Or did I
Tyson,
water the
question.
plants and feed the fish? Well, the fish don't get any more water till they drink what they got. It's fine. What's the question?
Who's your favorite Borg Queen?
Oh, there's this one up in Hillcrest. Sorry, that's the gay part of San Diego. Wrong queen. I would have to say the one from the First Contact, the actress that.
Alice Krieg.
Now she reprised it for Endgame, right?
Yes.
But was not
and
the Borg Queen in Dark Frontier, right?
or Unimatrix Zero, yeah. That was
No,
Susanna Thompson.
Yeah, Susanna Thompson was the Borg Queen in Dark Frontier and Unimatrix Zero, but Alice Krieg was the original Borg Queen in First Contact, in Endgame, and I think she provided the voice for the Queen in Picard.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Why wasn't
they had
she the
some
Borg
body
Queen
double.
in Picard?
No, she was the voice of the Queen, but not the body of the Queen.
Right. What my question is, why wasn't she the body of the Queen?
I don't think that she was fully available and she wasn't able to get there in person. Some people said it was because she didn't want to do the makeup again, but I think what happened is that she was unavailable to get there, so she just provided the voice because they wanted her. But I mean, it was done very well. But I mean, I found it very difficult to choose between Alice and Susanna, because I love them both, and they both bring so much to the character of the Queen. And I mean, Susanna Thompson is formidable. She really is. She is a brilliant actress. I mean, I loved her as Colonel Mann in NCIS, and I loved her as Oliver Queen's mother. I can't remember her name.
What is in Star Trek season 2 and Star Trek season 3? The Borg Queen was in both, but were they those different actresses? Because in season 2, she's the one that helps with the Watchers and does the time travel stuff. In season 3, it's the one where Picard's son almost joins the collective.
The lady who was the Borg Queen in season 2 of Picard, she was a third actress who played the role. And I can't remember her name. Was it Annie? Yeah, but didn't she pass away?
Yeah,
Yes.
she passed
But
away
was
not
she
long before.
was she in season 2 and 3, or was season 3 a different one still?
Season
3
3
was
was
a
a
different
different one.
So season 3 was different. So there were 4 Borg Queens. There was the original, who reprised her role in Endgame and lent the voice in Dark Frontier and
No.
Unimatrix.
No. You are getting so confused, Tyson. Right. Alice Krieg was the original Borg Queen in First Contact.
Right.
She reprised her role for Endgame.
Right. So same one.
And she,
Same one.
yeah, same one, Alice Krieg. Then she did the voice only for the Queen in Picard season 3.
Okay, in Picard season 3. Got it.
Yes.
In Picard season 2, she did not
That was
lend her
Annie.
voice.
No, that was Annie. That was all Annie. And then obviously there was Agnes, who became the queen of that tiny collective. So technically speaking, there's been like 4 different Borg queens. But Susanna Thompson was only the Borg queen in Voyager, Dark Frontier, and Unimatrix Zero.
Okay. And she used her own voice.
Yes. The only time that there was a different actress and different voice was Picard season 3.
That's the only time where the voice and the person were two different. You know what season 3 the Borg Queen reminds me of? It reminds me of Star Wars Episode 9, where you have the Emperor and he's all kind of, on this machine and barely alive. The Borg Queen was kind of like on the wall, half barely alive. It almost felt like there were some similarities there.
And
Yeah, because
to answer the earlier question,
and
answer the earlier question, Oliver's mom was Moira.
Moira, that was it. Yeah, I knew it began with an M, but I kept getting Martha in my head, and I don't know why.
The power of Google.
Yeah, the actress who was the physical embodiment of the Borg Queen in Picard season 3 was Jane Edwina Seymour, but Alice Krieg did the voice.
Wow.
Trivia.
We keep on popping between 9 and 10 viewers on StreamYard. Say don't be shy. Just like hit that little button for your microphone to start your camera or start your microphone. Say we don't bite if you don't want us to.
I do.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do too, but I can't do it over the computer, so you're still fine.
Yeah, I'd say
but
that'd
if
be a
you
little.
show up in Ramona, you might get a nibble.
Nom, 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 nom.
Or a nipple, depending. I don't know.
But no, come and discuss this with us, because it. Unless you really do like hearing a crazy British woman ramble on. So, yeah.
Yeah, you got a novel of notes, so go for it. I only got a few pages.
Well, you see, a lot of what I've got is basically a little synopsis for every bloody scene. But I mean, I admire what Seven did. I really do. I mean, she even said that, Voyager had become a collective, and she had come a long way in like 2 years, because she was raised by the Borg, and she never had a childhood because of her parents, and she struggled so much to integrate into the crew of Voyager, but she really did do it very well and very quickly, because only 2 years down the line she was faced with this dilemma of risking her individuality and her life or saving Voyager. Now, if it was only 2 months or even 2 days after she was disconnected from the hive, she wouldn't give a crap. She really wouldn't.
Now, on the flip side, I don't think Janeway would let her go on an away mission after just a couple of weeks or months of being disconnected.
Oh yeah, I know, but I'm just talking about her mentality. I'm but there was such a change in her mentality in such a short space of time. But I think that it wouldn't have happened if she'd have been on Earth, for example.
I have a question. Are all Borg, all of them, are they all assimilated, or are some Borg procreated? Because we see the maturation chamber with little bitty infants and Borg, were those Borg bred on the cube, or were those just infants that happened to be assimilated when they, at the most recent planet they visited?
I think kind of sort of possibly not both, but kind of both. I know that wasn't even a sentence, but
no, it's fine.
Yeah,
I do that all the time.
I struggle to brain and form words, people. You'll learn to translate my ramblings eventually. But obviously, when they assimilate societies, there's going to be babies, there's going to be infants, there's also going to be pregnant women. So I think what happens is that the pregnant women are kept somewhere on the Borg cube, or they are assimilated while pregnant, and then the nanoprobes get into the babies are delivered early and then put in the maturation chambers to mature. And they only survive because they've already got nanoprobes in them to...
I wonder if they have to give birth or if the babies could be beamed out. Or if the targeting scanner wouldn't be able to separate one from the other because a transporter might think that it's one person,
That's how Naomi was born.
She was beamed out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because her thingies got
radius
lodged in the uterus lining.
Oh, that's right. Oh, why'd you make me see that? Oh. I just had a visual.
24th century cesarean section.
And I like to give you vivid imagery.
Oh, God. I'm just, thinking of a horned thing coming out of your hoo-ha. That has to be...
Tyson! How do you think I feel? I am a woman.
Well, ours are much... Our yeah. For us, I guess I was thinking, we've got much smaller holes.
That's like me trying to imagine what kicking the balls feels like. I can't imagine.
Well, there's an equivalent. The ovaries and the nuts have similar. I mean, if you were punched in the ovary, that's kind of what it feels like, except that ours are more readily accessible for smacking.
And a hell of a lot more sensitive than ovaries buried deep.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would have to get, hit a certain way for it to, and it would never make, full contact because there's padding there, but ours are just kind of dangling for anything to smack. And, nothing is worse than a glancing blow, I'll tell you right now. That is the worst. Because it's like you don't even feel it for the first 2 seconds, and then it just hits you, and you're debilitated. If you ever want to take down a man, that's how you do it.
That has happened to me a few times with Coda the dog. His tail is a death whip, and my balls are just right there, just like anytime he gets close, I'm cupping.
Yeah, glancing blows are the worst. A direct impact can hurt, but a glancing blow, one that just smacks it just right. Ooh. Welcome to Star Trek, everybody who's watching.
And this was all brought about by Tyson asking about where bug babies come from.
You know, gay people, I've never been able to get my husband pregnant, so there's a lot of things I don't know.
This is why we need more people to join the conversation, so it's not always just the three of us. So come on, join us, please. We want to hear your thoughts.
Before technology, anything could happen, so go careful.
Say something tricky.
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Live long and prosper.
Same, but going back to the rehearsal in the holodeck, like Seven was like full blown having a panic attack in there.
When?
Well, her hesitation when she was in there and she talked to the captain about it, just saying how unsettling it was.
Yeah,
like,
wouldn't you be?
Yeah, just like it's good to show that that's showing more of her humanity coming out. Just like, I don't want to be back here.
Well, yeah, it was traumatizing, but it wasn't it not long before that there was the episode. Can't remember the name of it. I'm a terrible Trekkie. Where she was having flashbacks about that guy abusing her and stealing her nanoprobes and stuff.
Was that Infinite Regress?
Very possibly.
I'm looking at it.
But I'm sure it was only a few episodes before. I could be very wrong. It could have been the season before, for all I know.
Oh, no.
She'd already gone through that. I'm sure she had.
Willie Mays passed away.
Who?
American baseball player, Willie Mays.
Oh, I don't know him. That's fine.
I
but rest in peace.
No, a blip came off on my phone about 45 minutes ago.
Well, you heard about Ian McKellen, right?
Oh yeah, he had a really big fall. He's okay though.
He is.
He's fine.
He's in the hospital. Well, they say they canceled today or tomorrow's show, I forget, and then he'll be back. He was doing a play in London. Yeah, he took a nasty fall.
But no, Infinite Regress was where Seven gets multiple personalities. No, it was season 4.
What was the one where Seven begins? Maybe it's Infinite Regress. I don't know, but she begins seeing conspiracy theories all around her.
The Voyager
conspiracy.
That's the what?
The episode you're
Retrospect.
Yeah.
Is the episode I'm thinking of.
Yeah, because I just have it pulled up myself.
Yeah, season 4, episode 17. So she's already gone through that. Like suffering trauma, like basically like suffering PTSD from her time with the Borg. So being on the Borg, being like, even though it was only a hollow simulation, it was bound to bring back some bad memories for her. But she handled that really well. But then, the Queen really did up her game when it came to the actual the actual heist. But no, I think that Seven did really well under the circumstances. And especially when faced with the Queen. I mean, the look on her face when she walks into the chamber. it was almost like she was a scared little girl again.
Mhm.
And then obviously there was the moment, we've seen it before. We've seen it before in First Contact, when the Borg Queen was put together. You know, she fell apart. She had a cry in private, and then she pulled herself back together. And you know, I love that scene where she's all put together and she comes down. I loved it in First Contact, and that was like again like another callback to when we originally saw the Queen. Callback to First Contact, and I love it.
I agree with that. I love, First Contact was done so beautifully, where she comes down from the rafters and then her body is there and it joins. That I thought that was beautifully done, especially in '96 they didn't have that was only what 5 years from when Jurassic Park came out. That CGI technology wasn't perfect yet, but boy, that looked good.
It was, and the fact that she was speaking to Data when she came down as well.
Yes. And I'm gonna have to go here. The little tones you heard is the radio net getting ready to pre-start. It doesn't really start till 7:30, but I got to get some stuff ready before that.
So let's speed it up because I just got a message. I need my roommate Mike needs to be picked up from work. So,
and real quick question for Katie: did you get my email back with the answers to the 20 questions?
I did. I'm just waiting for Manu and Michelle, and then I can get everything done.
Okay. I just want to make sure you got it, you have it, and I'm good to go.
Did you send me 5 questions back?
No, I didn't see that. Was I supposed to do that?
No, I actually forgot to put that in the email, but you need to send me 5 questions.
Okay. And are they questions to whom? Like for you personally, or questions
for me, and also for some others as well. But Cassie's already given me 5. I need 5 from you, 5 from Manu, and 5 from Michelle to make up 20 questions for myself.
Okay. Well, what I mean is, are the questions generic, or are they questions like, Katie, where did you get those tattoos?
Well, just look at the bloody questions I've asked you. Some of them are serious, some of them are fun.
But some of them were specific to me, and some of them were general that could be asked of anybody.
Well, yeah, you can ask me general questions, or you can ask me personal questions. I don't mind. You can ask me very strange, funny questions, like I have with you.
You'll get at least one funny question. Some of my answers you notice were smart ass answers because that's funny. All right, I'll send you 5 questions.
Thank you, my darling.
All right, bye guys. Get ready for the net.
Yeah.
But no, I quite like how maternal the Borg Queen is, just in general, but especially how she is towards Seven. Although Seven's smart ass comment,
I expected reassimilation, not
I
conversation.
expected reassimilation, not conversation. I absolutely love that line. But yeah, I love the scenes between Seven and Her Majesty. That they are quite powerful, and very, almost like very like wayward child, in a way, like going home to very bad parents, but yeah, those scenes are very powerful, and I do love them.
Yeah, talking about that part, saying the level of vanity the Queen kind of showed, just thinking that she let Seven go when Voyager Voyager
That's a load of bollocks.
rescued her. What's that?
That's a load of bollocks. She was lying.
I know it's
You
just
know.
insane.
But no, you can tell by the look on the Queen's face, the look in her eyes. You know, she's just saying it to save face, so to speak.
Yeah. And the fact that she said that Seven's like the first drone to be
Oh yeah, I've made a note of that. What about Picard?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but that could be got around because he wasn't fully assimilated.
But what about Hugh though? I mean, though he's still had all his Borg stuff up. I mean, he regained his individuality on the Enterprise, and when he tried to reassimilate into the Borg cube, he threw that cube into chaos.
Well, yeah, you know, again, an inconsistency. I mean, I thought that there was another inconsistency, but I just heard it wrong. So that was like my hearing trying to cause an inconsistency. Because I thought that the Queen had actually said that their first attempt to assimilate humanity had failed. I thought that's what she'd said. But what she actually said is our previous attempts. Because yeah, I was thinking, well, you've tried twice at least to assimilate humanity. Well, 359 and the Battle of Sector 001. So neither of those, you know, and then obviously they went back in time to stop first contact. But yeah, I did hear that wrong. But yeah, I think that the Queen was extra nasty by taking Seven for assimilation. But I'm jumping ahead.
That's okay.
What I was saying earlier about the cutscenes, this is the first one. When the captain's in a ready room and Naomi goes in to propose a rescue operation,
which is adorable.
that scene is actually cut. Because like in on my Paramount Plus here in the UK, it's 2 separate episodes, and obviously this is now into part 2. That scene on the Paramount Plus episode starts from computer run of transpectral analysis, and then Tuvok comes in, whereas on my Netflix, with it being one feature-length episode, you see a little bit more before that with the captain going through different frequencies. So yeah, that's the first dodgy scene. But I love Naomi in this scene. A lot of the time Naomi does my head in. But I really love her in this scene. She shows her intelligence. She shows her love for Seven. And the fact that she even tried to modify her original plan when the captain was saying about the distance and that. Well, we could, you know, boost it by using the main deflector, and it's like, holy crap, love, how old are you? You know. But yeah, I love that scene, and then the little talk that Janeway has with her.
If you should go down with a ship and don't leave a member of your crew behind, or never abandon a member of your crew.
Yeah.
I see something similar to that every time I drive onto Fort Carson here in Colorado Springs, is that never leave a comrade behind.
But as well,
never leave a fallen comrade behind, I think is what it says.
The fact that that the captain shares the results of the transpectral analysis with Naomi, I think that was a very sweet moment between the two of them as well. But yeah, that whole scene in the ready room is very sweet, and there are a lot of sweet moments in this, and I do like it.
But later on in the episode, where you kind of mentioned that the Borg assimilated the Hansons' knowledge, when the Queen realized that Janeway was using those things. Sorry, I thought I got a notification, but I didn't. She said we assimilated that technology, and then they were able to circumvent the
Oh yeah, because
thingies.
you literally saw the Delta Flyer disappearing from the viewer, didn't you?
Yeah.
I do like. I mean, I love the Delta Flyer. I don't really. The episode where the Delta Flyer was built isn't one of my favorites, I will admit. I will watch it, but it's not one of my favorites. But I absolutely adore the Delta Flyer. But no, that again was a very powerful scene. And when Seven goes to twat the Queen, honestly, I was just like, get in there, love. Because she really did deserve a smack. But Janeway walking in at that moment, really, I liked that she walked in at that moment, because it really did show that it confirmed everything, that Seven did have no choice in the matter, and that she was being coerced. And she was trying to stop the Delta Flyer from being destroyed. So yeah, I really do love that entire scene. It's very powerful. It's very deep, and where the captain walks in is just perfect. But as well, the special effects in this episode, I really love. I mean, just after when Seven says, what was it? When she said about targeting the power distribution node or something above the central alcove.
Our thoughts are one.
Yeah, just after she says our thoughts are one, I mean, that was perfection. I'm sorry, but it was. Just the look on her face, the tone of her voice, and then the look on the Queen's face as well. But the special effects in this episode, they have paid so much attention to detail, because obviously Seven's assimilation tubules were connected with the console just before, and now I'd never noticed this before, but just before they're beamed out, it actually shows them retracting. And I thought that was like a really good attention to detail in the VFX. You actually saw them retracting just before they were transported out.
I'll have to watch that again, because I missed that.
Well, the reason why I picked it up was because I thought that obviously when our assimilation tubules originally connected with it, they were easy to see. But I thought that all of a sudden they disappeared from nowhere. They'd missed it out on the VFX. So I actually went back and I watched it, but I'd missed a little bit of it. And just before they're beamed out, when it when the camera goes back to 7, it actually shows the tubules retracting straight before they're transported, and I thought that was a really, really cool special effect. But yeah, a lot of detail has been paid attention to in this episode with the VFX, and I very, very much like that. I mean, special effects don't really bother me in a way. I'm more for the storyline. I'm more for the psychological impact of things. But when they've paid so much attention to detail with the special effects, I will mention it, and I will sing its praises if it's warranted, because it's amazing. Just such a little detail that can be missed so easily wasn't. One little thing, just rewinding a little bit, is the Queen's sudden act of compassion by letting that ship go.
Yeah.
Now, I do think it was all like, psychological crap to try and, ease Seven's mind a little bit. But the Queen took a very big risk by letting them go after the speech she gave to Seven, the question is, was it tactic, or did she really feel the strength of Seven's compassion for them, and it kind of like compelled her to let them go?
So now I just rewound to watch that bit that you're just saying. Yeah, tubules went in, beamed out.
Yeah, it's really, really good. But no, what do you think?
Sorry, I was a little hyper focused on finding that scene.
What I was just talking about, the Queen's sudden act of compassion, was it pure tactic, or was it partial tactic and partial compassion that she felt from Seven that could have maybe compelled her to let him go?
Yeah, it was definitely atypical behavior for the Queen for sure, but it just yeah, not sure if she did it out of compassion, or was she being manipulative to give Seven like a sense of letting down her defenses a little bit to come back into the collective.
I mean, that makes more sense.
It's a two-edged sword.
It does make more sense than, having some bout of emotion. But, anything is possible. But yeah, I love the I love this episode, and it gives more of an insight into the relationship dynamics of Seven with the crew. And it gives you a bit more of an insight into the Borg as well. We get to know the Queen a little bit more. And this is obviously not the start, because it started in Scorpion, but this is the moment mainly when the feud between Janeway and the Queen starts.
Yeah,
definitely. This is like, even though Scorpion was like the catalyst for it, like that was the initial spark. This was the big thing that set it off. They finally met, you know, Janeway and the Queen, they finally met. They had words, and you know, Janeway took Seven back, and the Queen got very emotional and chased them.
A little bit, yeah. Well, she sent someone
Yeah.
after.
And her own private ship got destroyed. Obviously, she escaped. But you know, I mean, the Borg are supposed to be a collective. Yeah, there is some form of hierarchy, but there's supposed to be no individuality. There's supposed to be none of this, none of that. And all right, the Queen coordinates the other drones, and she is probably the only single entity, like individual entity within the collective, because she does have her individuality, and she is vain, she is emotional, and not a lot of people realize that. And she is even that vain. She has her own special ship that's in the shape of a diamond. It's purple, which is the color of royalty, you know, and it just, all these little things goes to show everything that she said to Seven, obviously apart from the hair and the garments thing, but everything that she said to Seven is so hypocritical, because she is showing vanity. You know, she is over emotional. She is an individual within a collective. That's how she manages to coordinate them. And she still has her emotions, but none of the others do. And so she is very hypocritical. And she flies off the handle so easily. It's, you know, especially that temper of hers, you know, it's she can be so patient, but she's also very easily, she snaps very easily. So yeah, that just, yeah, a little bit more of an insight into the Queen there. And I love that, because I mean, I've done a full psychological profile on the Queen, and I find her fascinating. I really do. I mean, I did a psychological profile on the Borg Queen just from First Contact when I was like 14 years old. No, sorry, 13. I was 13 when I saw First Contact. And I did a full psychological profile on her, like, when I was 13. And it's just evolved over the years.
Well, maybe that's something we can continue on with the discussion next week, because I hate to cut it short, but I gotta bounce. I gotta go rescue my housemate from work.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've been going just over an hour and a half, so
yeah, which is pretty good for the third episode. Hopefully, eventually, here in the next month or so, we'll get more people than just you, me, and Tyson yapping our gums.
Well, yeah, so next week we will be discussing the final feature-length episode of Voyager Endgame.
Yes.
Which is more Borg. So watch it. Come join us next week, people. But until then, love ya. Hailing frequencies closed.